The next bill on the calendar for today is Senate File 3084. The clerk will report the bill.
Senate File 3084, number 8 on the calendar for the day, the first engrossment, a bill for an act relating to transportation.
I recognize the member from Ramsey, Representative Mariani, to introduce the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And members, every once in a while you get to introduce and author a fun bill, and a fun bill that also accomplishes some good. In this case, the good being helping out a small business sector having to do with transportation. This bill involves pedicabs. Pedicabs are basically tricycles, large tricycles that are used for in a taxi-like service. And so think about a rickshaw, for instance. We do have a small sector of pedicab transportation here in Minnesota. The ones that I'm aware of are here in the Twin Cities. And they are regulated by locals, so so their licenses come through local ordinances. This bill addresses a particular challenge that some of these pedicabs have relative to the topography, geography in which they're operating. In my city, as you all know, if you've walked around or biked around the city of St. Paul, we're a bluff city, which means there's lots of hills. A pedicab will weigh about 150 pounds. If you throw two people in a pedicab, that cyclist is now moving, 500, 600 pounds through the streets. Not so much a big deal if you're pretty flat, like maybe in Minneapolis, but in St. Paul, could very well be a big deal if you're going up the Grand Hill or St. Clair or wherever, anywhere along the river. And so what this bill does is it's permissive language that allows the local licensing entity, the municipality, to authorize what's called an electric motor assist to be able to assist these pedicabs to get over those last few feet over a hill. These electric assist is actually defined in state statute. We're talking about a very small motor. It's not going to push anything over 20 miles per hour. It generates about 1,000 watts of energy. So this is a good bill that basically would help this small industry to be able to help those poor cyclists when they're going up hills in places like St. Paul. These are great amenities, a good alternative way to move around, particularly when you have things like the Cinco de Mayo fair that's coming up this week, and that I hope all members will come into my district to visit, state fair, et cetera. So members, good bill, has no opposition, there's no controversy here. Would greatly appreciate your support.
There are no amendments at the desk. The clerk will give the bill its third reading.
Third reading, Senate File 3084.
Third reading. Discussion on the bill. The member from Fillmore, Representative Davids.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. And I'd like to rise in support of my classmate's bill here. Although I am a bit disappointed, I don't think it goes quite far enough. When I get in these things, I think they need more than a little electric engine. And the other day, Representative Shoemaker and I were in one, and I think healthcare costs are going to go up because that poor guy, I don't know how he's going to do it. So I guess we're at third reading, so we can't amend your bill, but I would have suggested using a 5.4 Triton on there.
The member from Stearns, Representative O'Driscoll.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Would the bill author yield to a question?
He will yield. Representative O'Driscoll.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Representative Mariani, when this bill was in front of Government Operations, I asked you a question. Has anything changed at all relative to your answer to that question?
Representative Mariani.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, Representative Driscoll, thank you for reminding me of that. We do have it on the record in committee. Let me see if I can remember this now. If a petty officer takes a pedicab to get a pedicure, can he or she use petty cash to pay for the pedicab? And the answer, members, drum roll, is only if they're going to Petticoat Junction.
Any further discussion on, hold your points of order, please. Any further discussion on the bill? Hearing no further discussion, the clerk will take the roll on the bill. The clerk will close the roll. There being 131 ayes and 1 nay, the bill is passed and its title agreed to.